Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome to episode 95 of Shrigleytube TV. Massive thanks for your attendance, for coming to watch tonight. Really appreciate it. And of course, thanks for all the comments, and especially the chap who commented last week and pointed out that I'd overseen a chafing issue on a cable on Ed's carburetors. So I'm going to see Ed this week and have a right good look, make sure it's not going to fray and cause a potential issue with, cables fraying and all sorts of horrible things happening like that. So there you go. So this week we've had a busy week at work, got plenty done. I actually got a bit of time to look at my green Audi, which was nice because I've been looking at it through the window every day for the last 3 months, thinking I need to make time to fix that. So got that a bit closer. That was good. Obviously it's Sunday now and we're outside the workshop because the alarm went off on the workshop and they called me to say so, and because it was what they call a triggered response or something. So basically the police turned up, but the cameras had already shown them what was going on, and they said there's a Volvo attempting to ram raid the side of your building. Well, of course, I knew straight away it was Jack testing his banger out. So I said, just arrest him and throw the key away, but they wouldn't do that anyway. We came down here and the police were here, but the police wouldn't entertain us. I did try and get them on YouTube. I wanted them to arrest Jack, but they wouldn't have it. Never mind. So there you go. So there's a bit about that at the end. But we're going to go home now. But what the point of what I was going to say was, tomorrow is Bank Holiday Monday. If you haven't got anything planned, Odsal Stadium in Bradford, Formula 1 stock cars, 12 o'clock. Be a great day's racing. Really worth going to watch, honestly. And hopefully the sun will be out as well, so you can just sit in the grandstand with your sandwiches and have a great day. I'll be there obviously with the Winklers and potentially the wife, so that should be interesting. Right, wonderful. Hope you have a great weekend or the remainder of it, and I look forward to seeing you all next Sunday at 7. Bye for now. Good morning, YouTubers. It's Tuesday morning. We did no YouTubing yesterday, I'm afraid. It was a busy day in the workshop, getting lots of things organised. We'll talk about that later when I get back to my bench. But this is the 930 that I just fired up the other day. Was it on Friday or Saturday morning? And done a few hours now, so I thought we'd give it a bit of a gentle load and then wind it up and see what it was like flat out. And it was holding a respectable sort of 65 foot-pound. For a 930, that's quite good. That was at 5,000, but it probably would still carry on at least till 6. We might see a bit more out of it just yet. But what I was going to do, got quite excited. I've got new things to talk about. We're going to take the carburetor apart. Now, I've not done one of these before on YouTube. It's a 2836 Weber. So we're going to get this off, have a look inside, looking at the plugs, even though it was holding its torque quite nicely. I've done the dizzy swing and found the advance where it wanted it, and that was what I expected it to be. That was quite good, running about 35 degrees max. But it's definitely a little bit on the lean side, and these are a new plug, so they haven't coloured up very well, but it's definitely not rich. So we're going to go up a main size and try it again, see if we can find some more power, but I thought we'd do this together. So I'll get the carburetor off now, and then we'll get it on the bench and have a look inside, see what we see, so we can work out how it works. Okay, YouTubers, I've got the carburetor off the engine now on the bench. All I've done is to remove the air filter. We've got some spares here, some different size chokes, some different emulsion tubes, etc. Now, I believe this is called a Weber DCD 2836, and it was fitted to your late 60s, early 70s sort of Ford range of Cortinas and Escorts and stuff like that, I believe. Now, it does remind me of a side draft DCOE, but obviously it's in downdraft form. This choke looks very similar to a DCOE carburetor, but it doesn't work quite the same. It has like a staged second choke, so I'll go into that in a minute. But it's a double pumper from what I can see. If I pump that, you'll see we've got a squirt on that side, we've got a squirt on that side. So we've got 2 acceleration pumps. That'll be a little filter under there for the carburetor, the fuel coming in. Doesn't have a return on this, so it would have been on like a low pressure pump on the side of the engine. I'm assuming, well, I know that's the slow runner because I've already changed it to make it run. That'll be the main for this circuit, which I think I'm right in saying is your slow run circuit. So from there to there, is just your first choke, and then when you go wide open throttle, it brings the other lever down. Can you see? It opens the one. I'll turn it upside down so you can see that. So same again on this side. It's got a slow and a fast. Put it upside down fully. As you see, I'm trying not to get squirted in the eye by the fuel. But so you're driving around normally, you just use this side of the carburetor, and then if you decide you want to overtake someone or go flat out, the second one opens quite aggressively, really. So my gripe with this carburetor has always been, you drive round, and if you go wide open throttle too low in the RPM range, as soon as that choke opens, the bigger one, you get a massive drop in airspeed and it goes lean and you get a little hesitation. So if you drive these with on an imp, what you've got to do is you've got to drive around to about 4,500 RPM and then go wide open. And there's enough airspeed then to keep the carb working, and it'll drag the fuel through the main venturi and it'll go again. So yeah, they were good. I quite like them. They make a nice barping noise. Not sure about economy. Imagine if you could drive around on the first throttle, it should be as economical as like a fast, go faster Solex sort of thing. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll start by taking this off and the top off, and we'll see what we see we can get a learn. Okay, we've got the top of the carb off. It looks in remarkably good condition. The little filter under that brass hex there was nice and clean, which is a good start. These are the emulsion tubes for each side of the carburetor. They all look good and clean, but we'll give it all a good air lining. This is obviously the pump before we got involved with diaphragms externally. The Volkswagen, the Webers were like this. So as you open the throttle, a cam pushes this little hockey stick down. It's a piston on the end there with a one-way valve. This is the float chamber where the fuel's stored, and the fuel is drawn and then squirted under pressure out those little pump jets there, which are your carburetor acceleration jets. So that's the slow runner, as we already discussed. This is the main jet for this side. This one is on a 105, and on this side it's on a 110. So I'm going to have a look at what we've got. I'm going to give it all good clean now. Have a look at what we've got in our spares box here. We're going to go up a bit, not on this side. I think it's quite good on this side. I think it's the wide open side that I'd like to put the extra fuel in. Keep it nice and efficient on the part throttle, and then when it goes wide open, make sure it's got plenty. That'll be the theory. So I'll do that, and then we'll get it back on the engine and see if it's any better. Okay, YouTubers, we're on and running with a little 930cc fire pump unit, but obviously converted to run inside an imp. It's got the sport cam rather than the fire pump cam, and we've skimmed the head to give it some compression, just in case you're just joining the channel now and don't remember from last week. Now, obviously this chap's provided a 2836 carb. We just had it apart. I had a range of chokes to fit in it, and I opted for the smallest ones I could find, which was a 21 on the first choke and a 23mm on the second choke. I've done that because with this cam it hasn't got enough area to do any decent horsepower at the top, so I thought we'll concentrate on just giving it good drivability, good torque at the bottom end, and we'll do that by keeping the airspeed up in the carburetor. So done that. It was a little bit lean when we first ran it this morning, so now I've gone up on the first choke size from a 105 to a 110 main, and I've gone up from a 110 to a 120 on the second choke, and it's massively helped it. I'm seeing nearly 70 foot-pound now, so that was a nice result. So we'll just wind it up together. Look at that, unbelievable, really helps it. So I'd say a good 71 at 4,000 there. We'll try and load the dyno right up dead low, because this will be good at 3.5 and 3, being, small exhaust ports, small exhaust system, small carburetor, mild cam. Come on. Mr. Drive Shaft's having a rattle. I can't cope with that. I have to get it past the rattle, then bring it down. This might be quite tricky to do. There you go. Right. I'm not wide open, I'm just on the first choke at the moment. So first choke, wide open at 3,063 foot-pound. The knock at the door, how annoying. Let's just try 3.5. 3.5, it's doing 68, 69. We'll leave it wide open, eh? 4,000, 4.5, it's still holding it. 5, it's falling off. 6, it's well fell off. And 6.5, it's gone to sleep. Right, well, it was never going to do big horsepower because it hasn't got the area in the cam, but that will be a lovely little drive for him. That 70 foot-pound will feel great on the road. Okay, YouTubers, it's absolutely gorgeous here in St Retford. I've clocked out for the last couple of hours of the day and pulled the head off the Audi. We'll talk about that in a minute because I don't know what's up with it. But my mate just wandered up here. This is Lee's dad. And he's been building a new engine because your lad's wrecked the other one, hasn't he? Yeah. So, what do you reckon, Lee? Is it going to be a flyer?
Should be all right.
Yeah. We've just put some clocks on it and set the cams up for him. This one's a little bit tweaked on the last one, isn't it? Slightly high compression ratio. So he'll either do the head gasket in boiler water or it'll be a flyer. One of the two.
Works or it doesn't.
You're not fussed, are you?
No.
Right, brilliant. Well, you can crack on now, Lee. I'm going to talk for 1 minute about my lovely Audi. It's gorgeous out here. Really enjoyed taking the head off. It's just as a bit of a break, but I'm a bit confused because I don't know what's up with it. I was hoping to see a crack in the head, to be honest, so I could see something I could fix. Now, the gasket has started to push, but the coolant was perfect. None of it had moved. It hadn't pressurised. It hadn't lost any. It just had a situation where it went, just to refresh your memories in case you didn't see the episode, I was driving it in traffic. It went onto 4 cylinders. I'm on the phone, Neil, mate.
He was just being polite.
I know, he was singing before. It was lovely.
I know, I'm changing the channel tomorrow.
Yeah. So, I was in traffic. It went from 5 cylinders to 4 cylinders and clouds of smoke came out from the bonnet. And I thought, what's going on? And I pulled over. Obviously, there was neat oil dripping out the bottom of the turbo, so I thought turbo. But then, obviously, it's going through the engine as well because the cylinders had gone down. You know, it had oil in the plug. You can actually see lots of oil in here. It's actually pooled in there. I can't actually zoom in it. But it had pooled with oil, so don't know what's gone wrong with it yet. That gasket was failing, but wasn't a problem at the moment. That's the high pressure oil weight. I can see there's lots of oil in here and in here. But look at this. These valves are very oily, especially this number 4. The oil was dripping off these bolts here. Number 5's better. I do not know what has happened, but we'll carry on taking it apart until we find out and work out what's happened. It was almost like neat oil pressure coming out of these oil holes. So anyway, it's time to go and do our family chores now, so I'll have to leave this. Morning, YouTubers. It's Wednesday morning. Another glorious day here in St Retford. Now, I just thought I'd talk for a second about this engine. This is one I put together on Monday. Just an assembly job. Just said I'd put the pistons in and get the piston height for him. This is Simon's engine, the one that I wasn't happy with the bore clearance. So I was meant to just put a new set of pistons in an old bore, 72.5mm, but it was a bit rattly. So I rang him and he said, "Oh, just bore it." So I bored it and honed it to 73. So it's a 1012 now. The head's next door just wants blasting. Unfortunately, it can't go out the door because there's a worldwide shortage of 1040 wheels rings at the moment. So I can't ring him and tell him it's ready until they arrive. It's a bit annoying, but never mind. It can sit there patiently and wait. Now, what I should be doing is I should be in the dyno room now, taking Joe's 930 off and putting Glenn's 1200 on because we've had a little issue with that. That needs to run again today, but we'll more about that later. But, you know, curiosity killed the cat and all that. This is the head off my Audi AAN turbo that suddenly started smoking. And I was in bed last night thinking, could it be the turbo? Could it just be a simple case of the turbo? But I have to think back to when it failed. When it failed, the oil was dripping out of these threads here on the centre 2 cylinders, or towards the rear of the engine, sorry, all around here. This was also dripping oil out. You can see it's absolutely saturated in oil. And if we look at the cylinders, you can see that oil on the inlet valves is crazy. So somewhere oil is getting into the chamber and into the exhaust port. I just don't know where. But I thought what I'd do first is quickly remove the exhaust manifold, just in case there's a crack in the exhaust port or something like that that would explain where the oil's come from. because I've got to be honest, the head gasket wasn't the issue. So I'm a bit stuck at the moment as to what's gone wrong with this, but I'm excited at the same time because we'll get to learn. But yeah, how annoying. Okay, I'm getting even more confused now. I had to take this apart anyway. My justification was I knew it had a snapped stud on the end there. Now, I can't actually see what's going on here. Number 4, I can see the oil had come between the manifold and the gasket. And yeah, number 5's cleaner, number 4's the worst. I'm just beginning to wonder if there's actually anything wrong with any of this. It's saturated with oil inside. Look at the valves. And it did go onto 4 pots, you know. As in traffic, it went off on a cylinder. So yeah, don't know what's going on. Hey up, look who's walked through the door.
Good morning.
How you doing, Burns? So yeah, we're gonna have to carry on looking at it. Look at the turbo. I didn't think that the oil could backdraft through to the engine. It's got to be on the inlet side. There's got to be an issue not found yet. We'll have to keep searching. YouTubers, I mentioned before that I've been doing a bit of work on Glenn's Carter engine now. This has been what we call a boomerang engine, as it's been back with a fault. So I've had to do a bit of remedial work, just a bit of a learning curve. There's a few other things I've had to sort out on it, but the most important thing is, you see here, I'll insert a shot now of what I've done. Okay, so what you can see is a timing chain tensioner blade. This thing inside here is now mounted up here as well, because on an imp head, this is obviously the very, very rare deep angle head. There's a long length from the end of the sprocket to where the chain is supported, and what was happening was the chain was getting a rattle on just at very, very low RPM, and you could hear it clattering in the case. So we took the head off, and I've made this basically replicated the absorber from there and fitted it there, so that the chain is now guided all the way down to the bottom of the engine. So for those of you that are new to the channel and don't know what this is the world's most expensive and rarest imp engine, I think, in my opinion anyway, because this is an original Sandcast 5 bearing block from back in the day. So it's got the extra 2 lugs that are fed externally. These oil feeds here are to feed the intermediate bearings on the crankshaft, because obviously originally the imp has one main here, one main here, and one main here. Now in 1965, when the Roots Competition Department was flat out, they did this as a 1 litre 5 bearing engine, and it was all for the rally cars, you know, for the Tulip Rally, Monte Carlo, that sort of thing. Apparently there's 10 of these blocks in existence, or probably about 5 of them left now. So it's an extremely rare block. I'm very nervous around it. Anyway, I first got involved with this a long time ago, like in 2014, when it was in a chap called Rudolph's DRW. And it had an oil system. Believe it or not, the way these were made, they didn't actually feed each main bearing with an oil drilling from the gallery. They just fed 1, 3, and 5 from the main gallery. And the way that the intermediate bearings got their oil, the crank was cross-drilled, so the oil came into number 1 main, went out to number 1 big end, and then went back to the intermediate bearing. Well, as soon as you're sticking a decent RPM on it, the oil doesn't want to go back to the centre line against centrifugal force. So these bearings ran dry, and they threw big ends and did all sorts of horrible things. So a lot of them haven't survived, but obviously, as soon as you make them with their own personal feed on this Dash 8 hose, all the problems disappear, and the bottom ends are really good then. So it's a real rare engine. Like I say, it's a Sandcast 1965, and this head here is, I believe, like 1 of 10 again. Heads that were remanufactured by Coventry Climax. So it's got little traits. It's got like a 5 bearing cam carrier. And also the interesting trait that I noticed was the first port is an exhaust port, and then it goes inlet. So it's inlet, it's exhaust, inlet, exhaust, inlet. Whereas on the imp, it goes inlet, exhaust, inlet, exhaust. So you can probably see, if I get an angle there, you can see how the angle is considerably better on this. I've been through all this before in previous videos, but obviously this is just for the newcomers that don't know what it is. So a mega rare engine, real special bit of kit, and it does nice horsepower. It's got quite a mild cam in it at the moment. Eventually we'll recam it and make it wilder, but we're going to see how Glenn gets on this year in his davering on the hill at Harewood, and then we'll evaluate it and go forward after that. But I'll just fire it up. I'm pretty confident that it's nice and quiet now. It's been a good patient, this one. It's perfectly well behaved. Now you might notice there that even hot, it runs like 80 psi of oil pressure, and I know that that is a waste of horsepower, but it's got, this was all done by Ian Carter, obviously having the Carter badge on it, and I'm sort of loath to change anything, if that makes sense, just because that's how he made it, and I think that's how it needs to be left, if you know what I mean. It's a bit different to a normal imp block, so different expansion rates, different, you know, we don't know what his thought path was when he put it on that high pressure relief valve, so I'm not prepared to change it because it's too rare a beast. Anyway, I'm going to get back to my Audi cylinder head and get this off ready for Glenn. I'm proper flummoxed here. I haven't got a clue what's going on. So this is the Audi head. As you can see, it's wet with oil in the inlet ports and the back of the valves are wet. So I thought, has the guide come loose? You know, that was my first thought. But the guides are tight. There's no problem there. So what I propose to do is, it looks like this casting here is the main oil pressure gallery. Comes up through the block into here, up to there, then it feeds all of the hydraulic followers along that line. And I'm wondering if it's gone porous and it's somehow coming through here from there, because it's quite close. That's like the hole for the injector. Because I can't understand how we've got so much oil in the inlet side. The guide seals are hard, yes, but we're talking this was like an engine that ran perfectly and then suddenly went onto 4 cylinders and started smoking heavily and oil dripping out the exhaust manifold flange. So there has to be oil at a high pressure level getting into the cylinder from the inlet side, because it can't backtrack. You know, I've had loads of turbos go where the exhaust housing seal's gone and there's oil dripping out the turbo seal, but it doesn't wet a spark plug and the oil doesn't go uphill into the engine. This is coming from the inlet side. We've just got to find out where. YouTubers, I think we're there with the AAN head, the Audi head. I think I'm understanding what's going on now. I think I've made a few mistakes as well in my diagnosis, but what I've done is I've bunged this hole here, which is the other side of the head bolt hole from where the high pressure oil weight runs up. I put the cams back in with the followers just so I could seal the oil pressure side. So I was convinced that because this had the middle 3 cylinders particularly oily, that there was oil getting into the chambers. But I now think that there's actually nothing wrong with the chambers being oily. It was purely that the turbo had failed and the oil had gone uphill, you know, with the back pressure in the manifold and all that, and caused an issue. So just to go over what I said, not wanting to send you to sleep so early, but this is number 5 cylinder. And if you look, you can see it's washed there and the head gasket. If you look, you can see how it's started to push there into the coolant jacket. So it's all gone black where it's more silver, more defined line there. So the head gasket has been failing. And on the day that the engine started to smoke and oil drip out of the exhaust, it was starting up on 5 cylinders. And the reason for that was the cooling system runs like 10 psi coolant in the cooling system. So when I turned the engine off, the coolant had been oozing back into the chamber and making it start up on 4 cylinders, and then it had gone to 5 once it had burnt the coolant off. So that explains that. I thought it was a loose guide or something, and that was causing the oil to get into the engine, but I think what's happened is the turbo has decided to fail at the same time. So this is the hole where the high pressure oil way would have gone, and it goes up the head bolt on these engines. So I've literally just been sticking this in here, pressurising it, and I've had brake cleaner down it. I've looked down all the ports where the main gallery runs. There's nothing breaking through. The head is mint. These, I've been all over the internet, these heads suffer with cracks from the spark plug to the valve seat and from the valve seat to the valve seat. There's not a crack inside. The head's mint. This is the first time it's been apart, this. It's never had a skim or anything. So I'm going to check it for being flat, put my valves back in because a couple of the valves are loose. Or I took them out just so I could inspect the port. Full of oil. But what's actually been happening is, the guides are mint on it as well. I'll go into the room and explain. This is the turbo manifold, and if we look through the hole there, which is full of oil, that supplies the gases to the turbocharger. It's cylinders 4, 3 and 2 that are closest, and it was here around this area. And when I think about it, all these studs had oil oozing out of them, so it can't have gone porous on 3 ports at once. The oil has been coming this way. I took the turbo apart. This, for those of you that are new to turbos, the dead simple way of explaining how they work is they spin really fast. They've got an exhaust end and an air end. The exhaust gases spin this, spins the shaft. The air end pushes air into the engine. The idea being, if you get more air in the engine, you can get more fuel in the engine, you can burn more fuel, you know. When I say we have a good air day, it's like it's got a turbo on it, you know, because we're pushing the air into the engine. Instead of it just being 14.7 psi, you know, the weight of the atmosphere on us, we're actually forcing the air in, using the energy from the exhaust gases, spinning this really fast. So it has a water side that cools it on the coolant system, and it also has a high pressure oil feed that goes in and drains off back to the sump. And what happens is there's like 2 bronze bearings with holes in them, and in fact if I pull this out you'll be able to see. And if you look at the shaft, you can see where the bronze bearings run. And what happens is they've got holes in these bronze bearings, and the high pressure floats the shaft on the bearings, so nothing touches in theory. And the reason I know the turbo's knackered is, if it was just an engine fault, there'd be no oil behind this little protective cover. But it's absolutely rinsed in oil. It has quite a special little seal on it. I'll try and zoom in. Can you see that? It looks like a piston ring. What happens is that little seal there fits in this diameter at the end here. But what's happened is, as the turbo's got older and older, it started to, this has been burning for a while, this, I just haven't noticed it. But obviously on the day that it's decided to start smoking, it's really let go, and lots of oils come past. So you can see it in there as well. It just surprises me. This is the exhaust snail. So that would have sat like that. It just surprises me that it got uphill to the manifold. But when I think about it, with a turbocharger, the queue of gases is, you know, if you're running 10 psi boost, I reckon you're running 8 psi of back pressure in the exhaust manifold. So when I've been driving it, the oil, you know, the back pressure when you come off the gas, the pressure's trying to go back this way, which is how the oil has made it to the engine. Or I think anyway. Basically what's happened here is we've had 2 failures. We've had the head gasket fail, which has caused a misfire, and we've had the turbo fail at the same time. So what's happened is Andy's put 5 and 4 together and got 38. And yeah, not too stressed because the head had to come off because the gasket was starting to fail on number 5. But we've just got to sort of turbo out now. So I need to get this back together or in a box out of the way because it can't disrupt work. It's already had a few hours on it. So at least we know where we're going anyway. We'll get the head strips and have a right good look at it and look at making a plan to put it back together. Oh my goodness gracious me.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I was just about to come out and abuse you. I was going to say, this is parking for cars with 1 port per cylinder only, sorry.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. How are you doing, Bergerac?
It's a bit warm.
It's a bit warm.
The sun's shining. We should all be just at home really, shouldn't we?
What are you looking at?
I'm not looking at anything.
Oh my lord, I like your dashboard.
Like my wooden dashboard, it's nice that, isn't it? Yeah.
Quite like an MG in black. That's good, that.
Yeah, it looks okay. It's just usable car. It's by no means a show car, but it's straight enough. It's nice and solid.
Do my old customer that, Freddie Gordon Brown. He'd love that.
There you go.
Give him a text.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's straight enough. It's just a nice user for someone.
Very
Drove
nice.
it 100 mile back the other day. It's all right now. Been through it. It's
good,
quite
that.
healthy.
Why's the roof up there?
Oh, I've just cleaned it, haven't I? So it's going to take some pictures of it to get it advertised.
Mate, I'm having a bit of a bad day. You know that Audi I took apart last night?
Oh no.
Well, I was convinced that the head was cracked, but it looks like it was just the turbo that was gone.
So it is the turbo after all that.
Yeah.
Oh right.
Not very good at this job, am I?
Oh well, at least you've had a nice look inside the doors.
Yeah, well, I'm going to change the head gasket for a multi-layer shim one, so
Yeah.
it's not total loss.
No, exactly.
Right, I'll just hang back on the Hillman job. Just thought I'd report on what I found. If you remember last week, I took apart the Hartwell 998 that belonged to Dennis. He's since sold the engine, and the new owners asked me to pull it apart and see what I think. Now, when I pulled it apart last week, you may remember I got a bit confused because it was definitely a Hartwell engine because I've seen all the original bill of receipt for it, but it had a cast billet. That doesn't make sense, does it? It's a cast anyway. It's a little casting Carter cam carrier. Now that threw me because it wasn't a Carter head. It was definitely a Hartwell head. So some chap very kindly ran me up and explained that when Hartwell was building the 998 race engines, they used to source the carriers firstly from Chesman Engineering, but they had a bronze sleeve. This type of carrier runs an intrusion into the head. So if you look at the head, you can see it's machined back so as to keep the buckets shielded for further, so they don't stick out too far on full lift, especially when they're running 410 lift. So yeah, what he was basically saying was they used to use the Chesman ones with the bronze sleeve, but a couple of the Chesman ones had issues where the bronze sleeve had spun and caused all sorts of problems. So they were then using Ian Carter's carriers. So that's why it's got an Ian Carter. So it's got an IRC mark in Ian Carter and also a Hartwell stamp. So yeah, fascinating. Again, the head is absolutely pristine. Even though it's years and years old, it's not corroded. The wheel strings haven't even gone rusty, so that was nice to see. Obviously had good coolant in it. Unfortunately, it ran on Castrol R40 last time it ran, and it's all gone to goo. So you can see the tide mark where the oil had ran. So I thought before I quote the bloke to put it right. Dimensionally, size-wise, it's absolutely crack on. It's done nothing. The pistons are fine. The ring lands aren't warm. The pistons will go again, no problem. The skirts are good. I will replace the bearings just because the top layer is a bit mottled, just moisture and age. So we'll put a set of big ends in it. I think the mains will be fine. You can see the Castrol R on them. We'll plastic gauge it all anyway and inspect it. But I think basically a set of wheel springs, a set of valve springs, and a set of big ends. And also we'll bin off these cap head type bolts and put some proper ARP bolts in it. But the rods are lovely. Everything's really nice. These are the Sunbeam rods. I do wonder if this 930 block started off similar life as the ones that I've got, because the crank has got the same number 12 on it there as my new ones have got, that I've got out of the engines that have come off the assembly line. So yeah, fascinating. So we'll take it all apart, give it all a right good clean up. Maybe we'll see if he wants to blast it all, make it all nice and clean again, and then he can paint it if he wants to. We'll just see where he wants to go with it all. Probably going to recam it as well for an R21 cam or something. Just make it a little less wild. And yeah, brilliant. We'll get this all in the box for now because we've got no time to do anything with it until we get to the new unit. So that'll be a little while before we return to it. But yeah, really pleased with it. I don't think there's any major corrosion at all. I think it'll clean up real well. Morning, YouTubers. It's Thursday morning. I'm going to spend a couple of hours just getting this off the bench because it's took over and we've got another engine we need to build, an imp engine. So I just thought I'd talk for a second. This is the new head gasket. This is called MLS, multi-layer steel. These are much superior and stronger to the original type gasket. So I was just going to say, I was getting my excuses in for doing a rough job. This really should have had a skim. Whenever you take a head off an engine, you should skim it. Now, the gasket had started to fail a little bit around number 5. There was some signs of water ingress into the cylinder, but I never got it hot, and it never actually lost any visible coolant. So I've checked it with a straight edge, I've had torches under it and whatever, and it's absolutely flat as a pancake. So I'm not concerned. I've given it a good face plating. There is some corrosion starting on the face there. I've just put the gasket on and I've scribed a line where the inside of the combustion chamber is, and I'm confident that basically the firing, the embossed edge on the gasket where it seats, is well inside that corrosion. So I'm not concerned about that. And ultimately, my big dream, I'm never going to sell this car. I absolutely love it, but one day I'm going to take it apart and put like a 2.5 Volkswagen Crafter crankcase and crankshaft in it, and make it a stroker engine, and do big boost and do all the things and make all the noises that these 5-cylinder Audis do so well. But until we get time and money available to do that, it's just going to have to go back together as it is, I'm afraid. But I'm just confident now that you know, the more I think about it, we can't have oil in all 3 cylinders from one port that's gone porous. It's got to have been backflowing through the exhaust, obviously because it's a boosted engine. So yep, went right up the wrong road there, didn't I? What a plonker. Anyway, we'll get this bolted back together. I was just going to say, another reason for the head coming off was the exhaust manifold stud. One of them had snapped. I was dead lucky. I was able to drill it and knock a Torx bit into it, and it wound straight out. So that was the result. No helicoil. So we'll get some new studs in here, get the manifolds all bolted on, and then I'll try it. We're going to see how today goes, but I might be able to revisit it later and get a cheeky hour and just get it bolted on the block. Hey YouTubers, we're at a bit of a stage. It's 27 degrees outside. I can see the Audi out there waiting for his head to go back on. I'm thinking, should we really get on with another job that's got to go out? But I am tempted to just stay at it because I've got a bit of momentum at the moment. So that's the head, built back up with the cams in it and all the paraphernalia, cam sensor, cam pulley. Happy with all that. Got all my new O-rings and seals, that's all good. Now, I was just going to have a joke with you because I was going to say about this first. Put these studs on. This is great stuff if you ever come across it. It's like an anti-seize compound, but it's really good at coping with the heat. So then bolts will always, those nuts will always come undone in the future now that it's got that on the thread. Now, part of being a hoarder, the clever bit about being a hoarder is remembering what you've hoarded. And obviously I've had these cars. The first Audi S6 I had was like 15 years ago. I used to run it on LPG. It was my everyday car, but they were worth nothing back then. And I was buying bits for it. So I've got in my box of turbos on the shelf in the container and thought, well, I must have something that we can get a centre section to repair this. And I come across this. So I've swapped all the pipes over. This is the correct turbo. Exactly the same. If you look. Exactly the same turbocharger. Just if you look at the exhaust housing, it's nice and clean, whereas this one's very oily. So I'm hoping, although it has got a bit of play in it, that it's in good condition, or good enough conditions to get the car to run and prove that we haven't got any faults with it. So yeah, I'm going to put that on. And yeah, for once in my life, I'm glad that I hoard everything, because save me some money not having to buy a new one. Anyway, maybe we'll go outside and do a cheeky hour, get the head back on at least, and then we broke its back, and then yeah, we can just do an odd hour here and there and get it back together and get it running again. Good morning, YouTubers. Just look at that sky. Another glorious day here at Moss Road. And yesterday afternoon I had a cheeky hour on this, and I mean literally an hour and a half, and it just absolutely flew back together. Got the head back on, torqued it down, managed to get the turbo on the manifold. All the fiddly bits have got to be done yet, but I thought it's going to be another hot day stuck in the workshop, so I'll come out here with my bucket of tools and yeah, just see if we can get a tune out of this, because it'd be just nice to get it back together. I've been looking at it in pieces for ages, thinking you don't deserve that car. So well, we'll get it back together now. Maybe have a quick run up of it, and then we'll get stuck into some proper work. Okay, YouTubers, I've just stopped to get emotional about my Audi engine. I'm here with my mate Gary. This is Butty's brother. We've known him as for years because we knew his brother. How you doing, Gary?
We're okay.
Thanks for coming on here. But we were just saying, we're both Ford lovers. But I was just telling Gary, I said, Gary, the quality of this car, I've not broken one thing putting it back together, you know, mate.
No, that's mad.
There's no plastic clips.
Yeah.
Look, and we're just going to get excited about this. Look at this. Gary likes this.
Yeah.
It's got one clip there to hold the cable from jumping out, another for the barrel. The Germans didn't let anything go over. And I'm going to educate you here, mate.
Yeah.
You put your glasses on, right?
Yeah.
See this? It's that big cable down there.
Yeah.
But before airbags came out, they did this thing called Procon 10. You can see that massive cable? That massive cable, right? It loops around the gearbox. And in a front end smash, if the engine goes back, that cable pulls the steering column away for you, and it pulls the seats back, the tensioners on the seat belts. How clever were the Germans, mate? They were just amazing, weren't they? They knew what they were doing. I mean, I can't believe it's actually been a joy to put that together, you know. It's time for my first brew and it's ready to run.
Yeah, well,
Mate.
yeah, I'll come back when it's running.
My hat goes off to you guys being mechanics because I couldn't do it. And all I'll say is, if the cars were like this still, like the 90s cars,
laughing.
I'd get a set of
Be a
spanners and a
great
ramp. Yeah, be a great day, wouldn't it? Great day in the office.
Not anymore. Not of all this made to throw away stuff.
I know. It's
Right.
mental, isn't it? I mean, Audi made good stuff and then they started putting like little 6mm Allen key drives driving the oil
what's
pump
that
ready
up,
to fail. And like my Crafter, they put a 1M6 bolt holding 2 injectors in and a 2-litre TDI.
Yeah.
Why do that? It's just mental.
Yeah.
Mental. Anyway, moving me rant now. We'll get this running soon. Thanks, Gary.
You're welcome.
Okay, YouTubers, we've motored through to a point where it's all back together. So I'm gonna just put the battery on, give it a little charge, and see if it fires up now. A couple of things that aren't finished are, got a Jubilee clip to find for that. I loved the way that all these clips, everything just goes back absolutely as it was designed. Look at that. They thought of everything, them Germans. Got this as well to sort out. If you look, got one nut missing from there. I've left the most accessible nut off because the old turbo, it's snapped. So I'm going to try and weld something to that, and then I want to use the original nut so they're all the same, because otherwise it'll upset me, that. So I've got a few bits to do yet. Put the front end on. Thought it was quite important, typical of train going past, quite important that we just get a tune out of it. Now I do know that when I put it back together, because I sent high pressure airline down the high pressure oilway to try and find out if it was porous, it has jacked up some of the cam followers, so the valves are held open, so it may not start up on 5. I know this because I've just done a lap with the spanner on the crank pulley and I could feel it didn't have compression on all the cylinders. So I've got the keys here. Let's see what happens. What we'll do is we'll put the window down. It's got oil in it. Not in gear, is it? No. Yeah, it's down on the top, that, isn't it? Oh, gonna go. Can smell petrol. That's a good thing or a bad thing. It's not leaking out here, is it? No, nothing on the fuel rail. Try it again. Oh, nearly. Good thing about this car, it's got an oil pressure gauge, so we can look across and just check it's got oil pressure. Yep. It's alive. Gonna come on 5 in a minute. Let the hydraulics sort themselves out. Right, I'm pretty confident that it's just hydraulics jacks open that are stopping that from running on all 5. I don't want to run it anymore till I put the radiator and some coolant in, because the heat builds up real quick. So yeah, just realised as well, look how lazy I am, I've missed that. What a shocker. Right, well we're gonna have to over and out and get on with some Hillman work now, but we broke its back, so next week it'll definitely be rolling on the streets again. Look at the Audi, look how happy his smile is now that he's about to be back on the road. I thought we'd just go and see Neil, because this long series M6mm Allen key saved the day, getting the inlet manifold bolts off. Look at him there, he's always grafting. Cracking lad, this lad. Do anything for you. Well, what's happened to the talent contest? You're not singing loud enough, Neil.
I'm telling you, I could be your chips and gravy.
Mate, I've just brought this back for you. That saved the day. That.
Oh, lovely jubbly.
You're a good lad. What you on with? Service. What's that? What's happened to it? Oh, there's a nut on back to front.
Same person who's done the Giles breed. It's all over that side.
Oh my word, there's some bad mechanics. Lucky it's come to you, mate. It'll be right when you finished it.
Correct.
Belting. Well, thanks again, pal. Hey, say hello to Bigfoot for me.
I'm telling you, I will.
Okay, YouTubers, we're back on the proper job now, working on imp engines. So this engine is a grass track engine, 1120, or whatever. They've got a funny class limit, maybe it's 1140 or something, but it's basically a 65mm stroke long rodded imp engine with some special pistons that I got made. And the chap that's had it's not had a great time with it, to be honest. He wasn't happy with the cam that I put in it and stuff. Anyway, that's another story. But he's had a problem with moisture in one of the cylinders, and he's took it apart. And we've had a chat on the phone, and I said, look, the best thing I can do to try and help, I think, is if you post it back to me, I'll try and understand what's happened. So he's posted it back, and the main concern is that cylinders 1 and 2 look fine, the pistons are fine in that, but cylinders 3 and 4, now it was a high compression engine, so it was 13-1. The ring lands have been munched. Can you see? It looks like detonation, but I don't understand why it's just on cylinders 3 and 4, so that was a bit odd. The other side's fine. It's like, anyway, so I've been looking at the job and I'm thinking, what's going on here? Have I missed something? And I think we've had a bit of an Andy booble, because if we look at the pistons, can you see that tide mark there? Now, I was trying to think what could cause that, and it dawned on me. It's 65mm stroke on a 100mm liner. I put the old ruler in, measured the liner. The liner's 100mm. So if we go from the top of the piston down, we've got 35mm there. Well, 35 and 65 is obviously 100mm to that edge. So what's happening is the piston is coming out the bottom of the liner. And because I just bored through it, it's not been deburred, so it's a sharp edge. And that's the piston tipping. Now, luckily, it hasn't took any size off it. It's just scraped it. But they all measure up okay. So we'll have to, well, I've already let him know that I think there's a problem with something that I've done. So what I'm going to do for him is I'm going to put a new set of liners in that are 110mm long. And then the piston will be fully shielded. You know, normally we'd throw these pistons in the bin, but these are £1,000 a set. These are proper forging, and we have them made with an intruder on them to get some compression. So I've got a plan to repair this as well, because it's only just slightly worn. So I'm going to put them in the lathe, and I'm going to re-groove the top ring gap. It's 0.8 at the moment, or 0.75. I'm going to make it 1mm and fit the top ring off a Maynard. It's a metric ring pack basically on the Maynard piston. So 74mm, we can fix that. So I can fix the pistons, I can fix the liners, and yeah, we should be good to send it all back to him. Then he can get it all built and get himself back on the track. Okay, YouTubers, I thought we just had Glenn in to pick his engine up, and I thought, ooh, I'll do a little bit of a preparation for next week's work, so I know where I'm going on Monday morning. And then we'll maybe have a little cheeky half hour putting the radiator in the Audi, because I'm desperate to see if the oil issue has fixed it. So this is the head that had the crack in the wheels ring groove, you might remember from a few weeks ago. So I've welded that and I've re-drilled the holes. I've also recut the seats and given it a quick lap, and it's all worked out quite well. I also noticed it's actually got an original, can you see the Hartwell stamp on the back there? It's actually originally a Hartwell head. It's quite a nice head. It's had a bit of history, but it'll be all right now. We've welded it, and it runs with this lovely, look at this. That's a genuine R23 cam in steel. That beautiful. Now these, you wouldn't put one in a road car because they're just all 6,000 plus, you know, and you've got to have about eight speeds to keep it on the boil. But in the sidecar outfit, it probably works quite well. And we were going to recam it and put him on a modern cam, but I thought, you know what, he's probably got more area with this, and it'll just rev beautifully. And because he's got no weight in it, it should project him along quite well. So we've got a brand new sunbeam block and a set of dry liners all put in there, honed board ready to go, new pistons, standard rods. He's dropped off the rods and the crankshaft. It's an early EN9T crankshaft, which is nice. So it's nice, good quality early crank. We've got to machine this down to 3-inch, and that's good to go. Got to clean this front cover so that can go on, because obviously being in a sidecar outfit, it doesn't need to have the extra lug there like the Imp has, like for example that one there. So got all that. So I've got my full kit of bits. We'll get some valves and springs organised and stuff, and then get a build on. So I'll look forward to getting stuck into that on Monday morning. Okay, YouTubers, bit of a revelation here. Came outside, put some fuel in it, fresh fuel, thought try and get another tune out of this, just see if it runs on all 5 now. The hydraulics have settled down. Went to start it, and there was like trying to hydraulic and stuff. I'm thinking, what's going on there? So I pulled the fuel rail out. Watch this, watch number 5 injector. Watch this injector when I crank it. Yeah, it's stuck open, and they've been cleaned as well. So that's probably why it doesn't run so well. Hey YouTubers, I thought I'd better just clear things up here with this Audi job. Basically, I've been right down the wrong road with it. Obviously, the head gasket had started to fail, so the head did need to come off, and it did have that snap stud in the exhaust. But having now seen what I've seen with the injectors out and number 5 injector stuck open, I don't think we have an engine issue that was causing the problems. Basically, what's happened is the injector's stuck open probably because of an earth or a loom issue, rather than a driver issue in the ECU, because normally when that happens you get no injection, not constant. Anyway, what's happened is the extra fuel has caused the oil level in the engine to rise over the journey to work that day that it started misfiring, and obviously the oil levels got so high that the turbo has like a gravity return on the oil pressure side. It's flooded the turbo with the engine oil, which has then caused the oil to go everywhere, and then basically I've decided that it's got a porosity issue, which it didn't have, and the rest is history. So there you go. Just shows how if you spend the time to do all the correct checks before you take something apart, often you can save yourself time. But it is what it is. I'm not bothered. We'll just carry on. We'll get back to it next week and get it sorted. What is he up to out here? Oi! I'm trying to run a business here, mate.
You make more noise than me.
What are you playing at?
I'm just making sure my electric fan's cutting in and out.
Electric fan? It's never got an electric fan, this.
It's like one of those handy you use on your face when you're on holiday and drink.
There you go, an oil leak.
Time for a new rocket cover.
Bad news, the Audi's got an ECU problem.
What, you mean you spent the whole week with the car in bits?
For no reason.
For no reason.
Probably. Yeah, the number 5 injector, as soon as you connect it, just spurts out neat fuel.
It's not ideal, is it?
Not for me, it's not, no. Bergerac.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Can I ask a question?
I like the front balance and the spotlights. I think that looks great.
Oh, mate. You know what I like? The chrome cover sills.
Oh, they'll have to be removed to make sure there's nothing untoward underneath, but it's a nice straight car, so there won't be.
Oh my God.
Don't you worry. I'll
Mate.
provide photographic evidence.
Look at that badge there. What we were and where we are. Wonderful.
Yeah, I'll provide photographic evidence for any of your viewers that don't believe me that the sills will be beautiful under there.
Mate, you know what? It's a tidy bus, that.
Straight car, yeah.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, the guy before me had it for 25 years or something. In fact, if any of your viewers would like 25 years worth of Enjoying MG magazine.
Oh wow!
Look at that,
That-
all leather bound.
Let's have a look inside. That'd keep someone happy all winter.
Might not keep the wives happy.
Oh,
Depends if they want some piece of
if they've got any sense,
yeah.
they'll go and sit in the garage and read them or the shed, won't they? They won't be sat next to their wife.
Look at all the events this has done.
Oh my god.
Handfuls, look at all that.
It's done more than you. Mate, that's some paraphernalia, that.
It's had some fun times.
Hey, he's got door speakers as well.
Very cool.
Has he got a wireless?
A wireless.
Look at that, it's got a CD player. Hey, Percy, it's got some oil pressure as well, this one. It's a bit of a bonus for you, isn't it?
Hilarious.
Right, wonderful. Well, I'm going to go and pick the Winklers up and look forward
What are you
to...
going to have to do? Buy a new ECU? Where are you going to find one of them?
No, it'll have damp in it, or we'll get the ECU apart. These things don't go wrong like that. There'll be something weird causing that, or it'll be a loom issue. But we can't look at it now. We've got to get this engine built. What I was going to say was Bradford, Bank Holiday Monday, 12:30, World qualifying round.
I'm really sorry.
Formula One stock cars, mate.
As much as I'd love to join you, I can't. I'm sorry.
Mate, what are you, like a jazz festival or something?
Jazz festival. I suppose you could call it that.
Where are you?
No, I don't know. I just know I'm not here.
Hang on, you haven't got a real reason for not coming stock cars, have you? Right, I'm never videoing you ever again. Horrible man.
Have a lovely weekend.
Jack, I believe you've been on the dyno in your Volvo.
I'm only on the dyno. I've been on the road test.
A road test. This is the old not Saab. It's the Volvo engine.
164
164.
of pure power.
Mate, it's less than number 11s.
Yeah, it was better than expected.
Well, Jack, I'm just going to tell the viewers why I'm here, because the police have
What,
been on the
on Sunday?
phone. Yeah, I believe you just had an altercation with the police.
Yeah, I'm responsive. Just turned up at the garage. Who set that alarm off down there?
Jack has just reversed into my wall or done something.
I haven't reversed into the wall.
Well, I
It was
was...
the pure power. that set
Me
it
and,
off.
me and the Dugmeister, he's faster Bobies in there. We've just been at Anston Engine Museum. And gets a phone call saying that the alarm's going off. And, yeah, the cameras showed a Volvo. Apparently it was trying to ram raid the side of the building.
Listen, there's nothing in there to steal, is there?
I'd
I'd go in there to rob something and come straight back out.
Right. Well, let's have a look at this. Have a quick look at the other one. There's 2 cars racing in one weekend.
Garage is clear though, isn't it?
Yeah, hey, you got some floor space there, kid. So this is the engine your dad built, is it?
Yeah.
Excellent, mate. Big flyer, that.
Must be.
It's got plenty of grey on the bottom there, hasn't
Yeah, because it's been off about 15 times.
he? He loves the job. Right, well, hopefully we'll be at Mildenhall with you at some point next weekend. Are you going to Bradford tomorrow?
No, won't be at Bradford.
Crikey, what's wrong with you? Congratulations, give yourself a pat on the back. You've made it to the end of Shrigleytube. Hope you enjoyed what you've seen, and I will look forward to seeing you all next Sunday at 7. Have a great week. Bye for now.